Stanford researchers just published a study, and they call it Canaries in the Coal Mine. The Wall Street Journal covered it, and the numbers are pretty stark. Entry-level software engineering hiring at major tech companies has dropped more than 50% over the last 3 years. Salesforce hired 0 new engineers in fiscal year 26 so far. That's 0, while aggressively competing for senior architects and AI specialists. Amazon eliminated more than 14,000 corporate roles late in 2025, which were mostly mid-level and frontline execution positions. A leading tech recruiter told the Wall Street Journal that a single experienced engineer can now deliver the output of an entire team. Here's what most people are getting wrong about this story, because it's really not about tech. It's about something bigger. Software went first with AI disruption because it's the most AI native profession. The work is structured, it's documented, it's pretty easy to evaluate as right or wrong if you're coding. That description, however, fits legal research, financial analysis, accounting, even marketing. Every knowledge profession has its tier of routine work. AI is learning to handle it, and that tier is where most careers begin. The mechanism's pretty consistent. AI absorbs the codifiable work first, the junior pathway shrinks, and then what remains requires accumulated judgment and experience that really requires years of building. Stanford's data makes that split pretty visible. Software developer employment for workers aged 22 to 25 fell nearly 20% from its late 2022 peak. Workers in the same fields, aged 30 and over, grew 6 to 12% over the same period. So experience is compounding in value right now. Entry-level availability of jobs is collapsing. Microsoft cut more than 15,000 roles across 2 rounds in 2025 and was pretty explicit about the reason. AI is handling more routine work, and the roles that remain demand more judgment, not less. Amazon concentrated its own reductions in execution roles while continuing to invest in platform architects and principal engineers, people who can direct, evaluate, and really put AI in context. The engineers still being hired have something AI doesn't. They've lived through production failures, they've made bad architectural decisions and recovered from them, worked with teams that didn't perform and figured out how to turn it all around. That kind of pattern recognition doesn't come from training data, it doesn't come from reading books, it comes from a depth of experience. So the question for every leader: if AI is eliminating the entry point in software, the same dynamic, it may be coming to your function. Maybe faster than you think as well. If the junior pathway shrinks or disappears across your organization and your business, how does your organization develop judgment, the kind of strategic judgment and thinking that's going to be needed 5 years from now? There are 3 things worth acting on right now. First, create stretch experiences. Early career employees need exposure to ambiguous, judgment-heavy situations before they're officially ready to rise through the ranks. So don't wait. Involve them in complex decisions, more strategic conversations. Give them the learning that builds judgment outside of their cube. Second, build coaching into the pipeline. The fastest way to close the experience gap is structured reflection alongside someone who's already navigated that experience. Pair your junior talent with senior leaders who can debrief decisions and not just assign tasks. Treat mentorship as a formal part of your development model and talent pathways. Third, measure judgment growth. Now, what does that mean? Define what strategic thinking is and look at how complex decision-making actually looks in your organization. Build competency frameworks around pattern recognition and strategic decision-making. Track it, develop it internally. the way you track any other business metric. AI commoditizes technical skills. What is important now is looking at what you can bring into the organization that is harder to hire, harder to train on a schedule, and really impossible to download. The coders are the canary. The organization that listens early will have a structured advantage by creating the talent pipelines that really become the core capability of the future that's directing AI, not being displaced by it. That's the reframe, so you can leapfrog the headlines, your leadership, and your business. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and find me at sorenkaplan.com.